How do you erroneous entries from undeposited funds in QuickBooks Online? So if you're the business owner and you're taking a look at your books and maybe to check up on your bookkeeper, maybe you're a bookkeeper and you're taking over an account for the first time, and maybe you just want to see how things are going, and you notice that there is a balance in the undeposited funds account. So first, I'm going to answer the question, and then I'll share with everybody why you would ever care about this question. So the answer to the question is you need to investigate, first of all, each customer account, because if the company has some money on the table, you don't want to just make those entries go away if a customer actually owes. So look into each account, find out if that receivable was actually closed or if somebody just marked it closed for some reason. Don't leave money on the table, because this is where accounting meets cash. You don't want to just make an entry go away. Maybe a customer actually owes and it's time for a polite call or an email saying, hey, I'm not sure if this account is open or closed. Were you satisfied with the service? It doesn't look like we received the money for it. Are the accounting records correct? And if they say that they did pay, great. I'm so glad the account is settled. Thank you so much. If you can send us a copy of the canceled check, etc., etc. If it turns out that there's actually no money on the table and that just simply needs to be closed out, then record a mass deposit, getting all of those erroneous items out of undeposited funds, but before you close the deposit, right? Because that deposit didn't actually happen. You have a screen filled with checks and or credit card payments and or cash that never actually happened. Then right before you hit save and close, you have a single line item for a negative number that zeroes out the balance of the entire deposit. What general ledger account should you use? Most likely your sales account. And if you want to put a finer point on it, then it's the sales account that was originally recognized as income in the original invoice is your best bet. There are some really important things to note here. And so this speaks to the why. Why would anybody care what's in their undeposited funds account? What does this account mean? And why should you care what's in it? And the biggest red flag that I'm going to share with you right now is that if your undeposited funds account is high, then you're either leaving money on the table, and you're either leaving money on the table because you're not collecting from customers you thought you collected from, or it is a really easy way for someone to hide fraud. If you're only looking at the receivables aging, then you think, oh, it's been paid. But what if the money never made it into your company bank account because it was diverted? Don't ignore the fact that most embezzlement happens in small businesses. You might figure, oh, I'm a small business. We don't have that much money. How much is somebody really going to take? We're fine. Or I know everybody. We're fine. Most embezzlement happens in small businesses, and it's not because there's so much more money than a billion-dollar company. It's because the billion-dollar companies have internal controls in place that typically small businesses don't. What's an internal control? A policy or a process that protects your assets. What would be an example of a process? Reviewing undeposited funds and make sure that it doesn't have anything old and stale in there. For anybody still on the live show with me, if you know what I'm talking about, click like, click love, type in that you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you've seen it yourself. Maybe you've heard of it yourself. I was on a project once to find fraud because the business owner knew that fraud had been committed. The fraud had been hidden with sloppy accounting. All I did was go in there and clean up the accounting records and match the accounting to the reality of what happened, and the fraud popped right up on the balance sheet as a receivable. It had been hiding, and zeroing in and staying on top of undeposited funds is a great way to prevent fraud and to detect fraud. Look, I don't know who's watching this, so this isn't personal. I don't know anybody in your company. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm talking about what smart, savvy, and successful business owners do is they don't abdicate the accounting function, they delegate it. That means they have skilled personnel, whether it's in-house or outsourced, performing the accounting function, and they supervise. They make sure that everything's kosher. And one of the ways that you can do that is keep an eye on undeposited funds from time to time, and let everybody know that you're engaging processes, because that's not because you have no trust for anyone, but because that's what successful business owners do. And if everybody knows that you're looking in the accounting records for various and sundry things, you don't have to get too specific, then they're much less likely to commit fraud. Because don't forget, the fraud triangle consists of a motive or incentive or a pressure, the rationalization, and an opportunity. They could have, and all three of those need to be in place in order for fraud to occur. If the motive and rationalization are there, but they simply don't have an opportunity, it's not going to happen. Don't overlook accounting as it's not just a compliance function. Don't overlook accounting as a real guardian of your hard-earned assets.